Trendy. Thank you so much for taking our time to interview with us. For the viewers, may we request you to please share your results on the GMAT and the MBA applications?
Yes, so I did 640 was my highest was GMAT score. I applied to 4 schools and I got 2 admits. Those were Warwick and NUS.
Okay, that's great. So, in your opinion, what are a few factors or actions you took that made all the difference?
Definitely hiring a company like Experts Global, because they have specialists in different sections of the applications, from selecting schools to resume writing. And I think especially the application essays and of course the MBA interviews.
All right. So, would you like to share a brief background about how your journey and your story has been so far?
Yeah, so actually it took a really long time for me to get into a school, partly because the pandemic happened in between as well. And basically I got complacent halfway through and all that. So honestly, it took me almost 4 years, I would say, to get into a dream school of mine. But I think after all that struggle, it is definitely worth it to, go through all that. Yeah, and it definitely helped me to refine as well, my whole application process throughout this time. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, with the benefit of hindsight, what are a few mistakes you believe you might have committed throughout this process?
Definitely, I would say not spending enough, I think, time preparing for the GMAT. I mean, especially in terms of going back and revising all the ones that I made mistakes on. I think my quant is especially weak, so if I had spent maybe more time on that, yeah, I might have done a little better. But I think the worst thing is about not, getting the momentum, right? Staying on momentum, staying with the timelines and all of that. That definitely delayed. So I would suggest really like sticking to what Experts Global, as a company has drawn out very nicely in the timeline, and sticking to those deadlines definitely will help. Yeah.
Okay. So, what were the main GMAT resources you used during your preparation, and what advice would you give to the future candidates?
Actually, I use a lot of resources. I use the Experts Global online course.
Yeah.
I even did fairly expensive private tutoring. I used Target Test Prep, the Princeton Review, official guide, and all of that. I don't have a particularly strong recommendation, probably because I think it depends on where your background is, right? If you've forgotten math for a long time already, you might have to start from really basic, I would say, and build it up over time. So sometimes jumping into very advanced things might not be useful for you. But I think there's a threshold as well. Like after you've taken maybe 3 tests or maybe 5 mocks, you kind of understand where you are at already. Yeah, so I think, but I would say more important than that is just apply for the school if you reach a certain threshold. Um, because it is true that apart from your GMAT, there are other things that schools do look at, like your work experience and the maturity you have displayed in the application essays.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that is true. So, how was your experience of applying to B schools? And, in your opinion, what are a few things you did correctly in successfully achieving the admits?
The experience definitely was not a smooth one, I would say. I feel that people don't realize how much commitment it takes just to get one application submitted. And you can't do it overnight. You can't do it the night before. Definitely not. I mean, of course, beyond just the fact that you have to get your recommendation letters, I think more importantly, you have to really answer the question. Every single school has a different set of application essay questions, and you really have to tailor it well. I mean, I actually opened up multiple applications and I clicked through to open them, but I never fully went through with many of them because there's just too much, I think, required. Yeah. So, but then definitely things that I think I did right, especially was reaching out to current or recent graduates of that specific MBA program to get a sense of whether it was really worth their while. I would also base it on 2 things. One is my nationality. I would try to contact somebody as much as possible who is Singaporean,
Right.
and also my job function, right? So I did marketing. So I kind of want to understand from their point of view how their MBA experience has been. And I think it has helped a bit in a way of avoiding certain schools that may not be suitable for me, right?
Right.
And it's surprising because even though these are high-ranking schools, it doesn't
Yes,
mean it's suitable for you,
that is true.
right? So I think doing that extra step of looking out for people from different programs and asking them about their experience is very, very important. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is so true. So, with what area in the application process did you struggle the most, and how is it that you overcame that challenge?
I'm just very lucky. I'm fairly good with English and
Yeah,
writing and all of that
right.
based on my, background.
Yeah.
But I think another huge struggle that people don't realize, like I said earlier, was the application essays. It is really, really a big struggle because you
Yeah.
have to think back, do a lot of self-reflection, and you can't bluff your way because it's very obvious, right, when you're not being truthful. So I think a very important point is the minute you decide to apply, start noting down on like a word or your notepad or something,
Yeah.
every single thing you can remember about your experiences in the past, like your strengths at work or even in school, anything observations you have about leadership, right? All of that, like write it down. So even if you don't use it for the essay, you can bring it up during the interview. So always keep, I think, that list. I keep referring to like tons and tons of things I've written down before in
Mm-hmm.
various locations for
Oh,
different essays, for
uh-huh.
different schools, right?
All right.
And I'm just bringing it back the points again and again. Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
preparing that way is useful. Yeah.
All right. So, as you already mentioned, that it was very difficult to write down essays, and there's so much that is required for every school's application. So,
That's
what are
right.
your learnings from managing the application timelines?
My learnings, I would say give yourself at least a month. Like don't wait too late. There's really no way to do it at the last minute. It's just really impossible.
Yes,
Yeah. Start early as much as possible. Yeah.
yeah, starting early is important, and also rushing through this process, I think, wouldn't really get us good results.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so would you like to share your interview experience with the B schools?
I think the Warwick one and the NUS one are quite straightforward. They were just one interview each. And they were 30-minute Zoom interviews because of the pandemic, right? During that time, most of the schools took it online.
Mm.
So for the Warwick one, it's just one person, and I think she belongs to the MBA admissions office, and she would ask, the basic questions like why an MBA now, why Warwick, those sort of questions. There was nothing that was really very I would say challenging. The NUS one, on the other hand, there were two people involved. One was from the MBA admissions office, and the other one was a past graduate of the program. And they asked, of course, questions like similar to the Warwick one, but also things like, why do you want to take the MBA, the NUS MBA, and not any online one? Because nowadays there's so many online versions available, right? They ask questions like, who do you look up to most in the business world? Any examples of, uh, cultural nuances uh, in different campaigns. And, they were just judging whether you had the ability to discern these things, right? And also, I think the last question was, why shouldn't you be accepted into the program? Which is just another way of asking about your weaknesses, basically, right? It's the
Yeah.
same thing in a different form. So yeah, it was slightly more challenging, but I think given the fact that if you prepared so much by now, I think it should not be too difficult, to get past this.
Yeah, that is true. And it's so good to know that your interview experiences were really good. I mean, even though it was
Yeah,
challenging, but you did it smoothly, which is amazing.
yeah.
So, would you like to share your ongoing MBA experience?
Even if it's been really short, it feels really long already, to be honest, because there's so much going on. I mean, I'm doing both part-time studying and part-time work, so it's the challenge is definitely there, to keep everything balanced. I'm lucky to do a part-time study and part-time work, because a lot of people
Right.
who do full-time work and part-time study, their challenges are like tenfold, I think.
That's
And yeah, definitely, I think in the first week, something unique about the NUS MBA is the orientation boot camp, where they teach you a lot about, how to give high quality feedback, how do you give your teammates high challenge and high support. A lot of leadership, I would say, examples and role playing, definitely a lot of role playing. So that was very unique in itself, to really, push and launch yourself, to transform yourself, basically. Yeah.
okay. That's interesting. It must have been fun though.
Yeah, it was. I think for people who are a bit more introvert, they probably were really pushed to the next level, right? I mean, you can imagine if you're not comfortable speaking in front of a group and now you're just like thrown into it.
Right.
But I would say I've seen people grow a lot from that experience.
Okay. That's really, really nice. So, are there any common mistakes that you would advise all the MBA applicants and GMAT aspirants to avoid?
One is I would say I've seen it that people might not use the official guide enough, because there are so many guides out there
Yeah.
that you tend to forget, hey, there's this official guide with the actual questions that have appeared before. Because all these other guides, they're not allowed to republish the actual GMAT past exam questions. So you kind of are losing out on that
Right.
front if you don't refer to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Official guides, I think they're the Bible for GMAT prep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, what would be your final message or suggestion to all the viewers watching this video?
Apart from keeping good track on your timelines, uh, just keep the momentum going, because once you start, and if you stop, you won't feel like starting again, because the inertia is just very high to continue. I mean, sometimes if you're introvert, like sometimes that I am, right?
Yes.
And you're gonna have to ask people to give you some schools ask for 3 recommendation letters, right? So that if you delay too long, other people are really busy too, right? Your past managers and all of that. So if you don't give them enough time, you might be late for the submission. So yeah, all these I think I have to factor in mind to just keep going.
All right. Okay. This was great, Trendy, because your suggestions, I think they're going to help a lot of students in their journey as well. So thank you so
I hope so.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving us your time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and take care.
You too, Dikshita.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.